Folks, welcome to race number 4 of Race to Zero Hour. I'm Sarthak, and alongside me in the commentator's box is Gouts as we head to the Suzuka circuit for one banger of a race, I must say, ahead of it itself, because we got a full racing grid out on track. And Gouts, before we even get to what we're going to see out on track, all the heavy hitters are out here today, aren't they?
Sarthak, first of all, glad to be back. It's always good to be here. And yes, Sarthak, some of the heavy hitters are here. Mr. KDB is back. It's been a while since we've seen him on track. And we've obviously got the likes of Envy and Big Manjo, all the big guys in the BRL. Also extremely excited because, first of all, full grid. And second, Japan is one of my personal favorites. It's a track that I absolutely love to drive on. Also, if you see in the list of names there, we have a Mr. Dalvin134. He's someone who I've been very excited to watch. And I have never seen him live, and I'm going to love this.
Yeah, me too. You can count me in, as I've been looking forward to see. The man talks so much about his track times. We see his track times in time trials. All of us from the Bwoah Racing League and anyone who's been associated to any event in the Roadrunner Racing from RoadRunnerRacingCo Esports, they know Dalvin, and we get to see him out on track for the very first time. Some of them have raced alongside him in other leagues. Of course, I believe Dinara won up as well as Envy have. So looking forward to it. Big Manjo and KDB get to battle it out. It almost feels like BRL, but it definitely isn't, because we got the likes of Fanatical, Deathwish, Assassin Next, and a bunch of other rookies out on track as they all come out to set lap times in the initial parts of shock qualifying.
Absolutely, Sarthak. I mean, this is definitely going to be one banger of a race. It usually is when you see all 20 drivers lining up on grid. And as the drivers come out, I mean, I think most of the drivers are already out of the pits. We see Andre, and KDB is already spun out. Yes, that was KDB. He spun out on his out lap. I'm not sure if he's got damage though. Yes.
An early unfortunate incident which he'll be trying to overcome. But yeah, the Suzuka, this reminds me of so many things from the Bwoah Racing League, all the way from, as we say on board KDB, he's coming along the same part of the track which some would say the BRL season 4 title fight was decided on. You know, that moment between General Pepe and KDB, which saw both of them spinning out, with General Pepe heading into the pits and KDB continuing.
I mean, how can we forget? And that also got us our first 1-2 finish for a single team in the BRL, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, precisely.
For Spiknik and KDB in the Racing Point. So a lot of records broke in that race.
Hopefully we see new podium sitters, a new race winner as well this race, in the Race to Zero Hour for that matter. You know, we got Derp. He will be racing this time around. We didn't get to see him out in Mexico. He's quite the driver himself, and as I was about to mention, exactly, I was
already tired.
I was just going to mention Mr. Wex, and I think Streeter just passed him. We're not going to be able to get a glimpse of him, and I believe Williams is coming his way, and I believe that's RB Ferrello, so maybe we'll get to see him.
You can see it from Derp's POV.
Yeah.
If you turn the camera around, very clear. There, Mr. X has gone into the wall. Unfortunate for him, his quali ends before it's even started.
Oh, seems like Derp gets disqualified as well. That's the end of Derp's qualifying session as well, and I wonder why though. Maybe slowing down too much out on track, perhaps. But yeah, drivers.
I think he was turned around while trying to. I think he spun around as well after Mr. Vex spun out, and I think Derp's car was turned around. So perhaps he was disqualified because of it. He was probably driving in reverse for too long.
Unfortunate there. Envy sets the fastest lap time. Meanwhile, 1 minute 29.023. Let's stay on board Streeter. He's coming off high, isn't he? In the past 3 races, he's won 2 of them.
Streeter's been doing exceptionally well, been fighting up there in the front with the other drivers, people like RB Ferrello, and the last race as well, I think, who was he fighting with? Andre for the race win. Abhi seems to be parked on track for some. Okay, I think he's just probably letting the cars behind him pass, rightfully so. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and
And yeah, a lot of drivers putting in lap times now with Assassin next, the slowest of the lot at the moment, with a 1:31.6. Of course, we'll be looking forward to improve that lap time.
yeah, and that's not too bad, is it? He's 2/10 off of Shumi.
Not bad at all. Pretty impressive lap time, to be honest, considering he just started playing the game.
Yeah, precisely. It seems like,
Um,
yeah, he's coming. He's slowing incredibly in sector 2, making sure.
And KDB has again screwed up. He's gone off track and I think hit his car. I think a bit of his car touched the wall, so I'm hoping he doesn't have damage. But yeah, he definitely has to go back in for a fresh set of tires if he needs to put in another fast lap.
And Hyrox 24's time is definitely not his best. We'll see him improve over time. Meanwhile, folks joining us, make sure you drop in the chat who do you think will come out on top at the end of this qualifying session. We still got quite the drivers still to say lap time. You got Tanish, who is the race winner from race 1. We've got Big Man Joe, Dinara 1 up, and Dalvin himself, who we spoke pretty highly about in the early stages of qualifying. Sector 3, Sector 1, all these sectors lighting up yellow is mainly because of cars slowing down to let the other cars by, more often than not, unless it's a KDB kind of incident. But I've been on board Streeter for quite a while. His 6th fastest lap time has come down to be 7th fastest, and I'm assuming he has been on his in lap and heading back into the pits.
Yes, Sarthak. So, yeah, a lot of drivers setting in their lap times now. Andre seems to have set quite a solid lap time on the mediums. To be honest, he's just about 1.7 seconds behind Envy, who set his lap time on the softs. So, not a very shabby lap time by Andre.
Yeah. Meanwhile, his teammate for the day, Abhi, is 4th fastest, close, and has begun his fast lap. So let's stay on board him, because it almost seemed like he was impeded by one of the Mercedes drivers as he goes through sector 1. It's clear, the track is clear for him, unless that AlphaTauri up ahead doesn't move out of the way soon enough.
Definitely. And Dalvin surprisingly hasn't set a lap time yet, and he's just invalidated his latest lap as well. Not going very well for him, is it?
Yeah. But maybe he fancies the last to first challenge, who knows. 11 minutes left to short qualifying, and he's lost his rear. Abhi somehow keeps it on track as he goes through sector 3. He will be attempting to improve his lap time, of course. 4th fastest out on track currently. Envy still the fastest. Abhi Ferrello, I believe, has even bettered his lap time. 3rd fastest out on track. He's in the pits right now. Deathwish has retired, so has Fanatical.
I wonder if they've retired in the pits or on track, because I don't see anything on track at the moment. So I think they have in fact safely retired in the pits. I have a feeling they're probably done setting their laps. I see nothing on track, Sarthak, so I think they've retired in the pits. Sicknick's setting quite a solid lap time there as well.
Yeah, the unusual thing is, why so early on into short qualifying? 10 minutes left to short qualifying, and Streeter seems to have parked the car in the center of the track. Unusual there. You don't expect to see that. But yeah, Sicknick's good enough for 2nd fastest out on track.
Definitely, and Envy's lap time is extremely quick. As you can see, he's 8/10 faster than Sicknick, who's in P2. So it's quite a mountain to climb for whoever wants to beat Envy's lap time. For now, though, I mean, it's too early to tell. Obviously, there's still half of short quali remaining.
Yep, precisely 9.5 minutes left short qualifying to end. We've got both lap times on the board, but we still haven't seen a single lap time from the likes of 3 of possibly the fastest drivers out on track. Tanish, Big Man Joe, and Dalvin. Of course, Dinara, a rookie, but he will be in the top 5 at best. Meanwhile, KDB, he just began his fast lap time. Let's stay on board with him.
Yes. KDB returning to the F1 game after a really long time as well. So it will be Oh, and there he spins. Curbs in Japan are deadly, aren't they, Sarthak?
Yeah,
A lot of drivers before the race even started were complaining about how deadly the curbs were, and a small
exactly.
touch is actually sending them off.
Yeah, we can see that firsthand with some of these drivers, and you can see Streeter and another driver zip past KDB, and that's the end of a really good lap. Perhaps a really good lap from the likes of KDB. Dark Legacy goes 7th fastest. Now it's been a while, God, since we saw that kind of lap time out of Dark Legacy. You know, in the top 7. Top 10 for that matter. We've not seen him be in his element in the recent past, have we?
Oh, absolutely, Sarthak. I agree. I think the last time we saw Dark Legacy putting in stellar performances was back in the BRL F2 Championship.
Precisely.
In fact, where he really impressed with really top finishes almost every race. And then BRL, like you mentioned, Sarthak, he hasn't really been in his element. But hoping to see him fight for the top 3, top 4 positions, obviously. He does definitely have the pace. Plus, he's in a Ferrari today, so forgive me if I'm a little biased.
Because as you say, Ferrari, I am riding on board Dwajin, who's on his out lap. We did miss him for Mexico, but he's out on track at Suzuka. Who would want to miss Suzuka for that matter? Isn't that right, God? So how do you feel about the track? It is a favorite, isn't it? But how do you feel? You've raced here before, of course.
I absolutely love the Suzuka track, especially the first sector, the S's. One of my favorite sections of the track. It's just so satisfying when you can actually nail it perfectly. And it's also one of the places you can gain a lot of time, I feel. Turns 1 and the S's. A lot of time can be gained here, and it's very satisfying basically when you nail it. And I think you're going to see a lot of people spinning out there. We've already seen a lot of people spinning out there in quali itself. Mr. Vex retired there, and Derp spun out there, and his AI took over and got disqualified. And we saw just the previous lap, I think KDB. We saw KDB spinning out there as well.
Yeah, exactly. At the very end of the S's, in fact. Meanwhile, out on track, nothing much has changed, of course. Envy has retired from the session, so that is a pretty big change. How confident do you think he must be to retire after setting a lap time of 1 minute 29.023? Mind you, Dalvin and Tanish hasn't set a lap time yet.
Dalvin, to be honest, I don't think he can beat Envy's lap time because he's on the mediums right now. So realistically, I don't think Envy's under threat from Dalvin at the moment in quali. But Tanish, on the other hand, is in the pits right now. I'm wondering if he wants to do a last to first or if he's going to come out on the softs, mediums. This is something I'm curious to see. But Envy has, like you mentioned, Sarthak, he has set a stellar lap time. And to be honest, oh wait, Sicknick's car is just stuck on track. I think Sicknick's about to get disqualified because his AI has taken over, Sarthak.
Yeah, he's
bound. That seems to be an issue.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's just parked on. Oh my God, probably not the wisest of places to be parked. Thankfully, the car coming up is
qualified.
No, what to worry about it. It spun. The Mercedes spun, and I believe that is Dwajin after all. Yes, he's had a nasty spin after. Yeah, Sicknick's car parked on track. Wouldn't have interfered with his lap technically, but yeah, it did have an impact on Dwajin. Dwajin's lost it again.
I mean, honestly, it's just disappointing because it wasn't Sicknick's fault. True. And at the same time, any car being parked at that part of the track is always going to impede a person because it's a very, you have to be really precise at the S's there. And there seems to be another car that's off track.
The big man Joe.
And Aston Martin, big man. Oh, and Dwajin spins again. Oh my goodness. He just can't catch a break, can he?
Yeah, he's trying to get to the pits. 13th fastest his lap time so far. He better head into the pits as soon as possible because time's ticking for sure. Qualifying to end, and it doesn't look like he can set a better lap time anytime soon unless he rushes in.
Sarthak, we haven't noticed Mr. Dalvin on the medium.
Exactly. Yep.
Incredible.
Second fastest on the board. 1 minute 29.811. Credit to Hyrox24 for being third fastest out on track, Gouts.
Oh, definitely. I mean, let's be honest, Sarthak. Harry Rocks has really proved to be extremely quick in quali of late. It's just in the race where he seems to be lacking. He seems to be either caught up in an incident or a bit of bad luck here and there, bit of his own, a few mistakes of his own, obviously as well. But at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, I've gotten quite used to seeing Harry Rocks up there in quali.
All right, great. I'm looking forward to see him even in the Bwoah Racing League. But right now, Tanish has finally left the pits. First lap time on the board we might just see soon enough with, say, about 2 minutes left to shock qualifying.
Oh, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Danish hasn't set a lap time yet. He's on his out lap. Set a lap time, and if he goes fastest, then Envy is going to be thinking, ah, man, I shouldn't have retired so early. But, I mean, at the end of the day, against Sarthak, Envy has set an extremely quick lap time, and it is a very difficult time to beat. So let's see if I think Tanish is the only driver at the moment who actually stands a chance of beating that lap time, unless Dalvin decides to. No, he's on his in lap. Yeah, he's in the pits, so he doesn't have time to set another lap on the softs if he wants to. So, yep, it's all eyes on Tanish.
All right, great. Meanwhile, folks in the chat, make sure you drop who you think will be out on top of there come the end of shock qualifying. Because we're really close to the end. We're going to stay on board Tanish because regardless of who's going to set a lap time, I'm pretty sure it'll be quicker than their own, and they're going to come closer to the top three, taking nothing away from the rest of the field. But Tanish takes a nasty spin.
Tanish. Exactly, Sarthak. But it's all right because this was his out lap. It will obviously spoil his rhythm a little, but let's hope. And his lap isn't invalidated, so it's not too bad. He will have a slow start into the lap, but let's see what he can do.
Yeah. Meanwhile, let me just sort out something with Sicknick because it seems like he might have just gotten DSQ'd unfairly.
Yeah, Sicknick. Yeah, we'll have to investigate that. Maybe take about 3-4 minutes after quali to actually see what happened. But otherwise, I think everything else looks fine. And Tanish, I know that's Dwajin, my bad. Dwajin, I think, is stuck behind Dinara 1-up, who has just given him away. But then again, he is on his out lap, so it's okay. And Tanish setting a fastest first sector there, Sarthak. Oh, this is going to get good.
Yeah, and I think we've come to the very end of shock qualifying, and yes, folks, we will have a custom grid. Dalvin has retired from the session as well, but second fastest, so technically both grid spots on the front row are up for grabs, and Streeter picks him off. Streeter has gotten the second grid spot. He will be starting P2 if it stands this way. Tanish, a stellar sector 1, I believe, and as he goes to sector 2 and comes out the exit, could we see a purple? No, we don't. Stay on board him.
But yeah, not yet. But oh yes, he sets a purple second sector as well, Sarthak. Is he going to displace Mr. NB for pole? But there seems to be a car in front of him.
Oh,
he's
in
the same place again, Sarthak. Oh my goodness.
No, and he's lost an end plate this time. He can't. If he was attempting to start another fast lap, he's not going to be quicker. Disappointment to the most for Tanish. Unfortunate for him. He's probably going to end up starting 18th fastest as he heads into the 18th and P18 as he heads into the pits. That's all for qualifying from him. Streeter currently second fastest, so he will start on the front row unless he can improve his lap time this time around. Andre is on a fast lap as well, but considerably slower as he comes around the final corner. Not going to improve his lap time, I'm sure. RB Ferrero, I believe, is on a fast lap as well. No, incredibly slow out on track. So it's all down to perhaps Baby Shumi, Dinara and Big Man Joe.
Absolutely, Sarthak. I mean, really unfortunate for Tanish. He had solid first and second sectors and was actually looking to take pole there. But quite unfortunate that he spun in the same place that he spun on his outlap. So that's another place where the curbs are quite high, and we could see a lot of spinning out there as well from a lot of drivers.
Yeah, and I don't know what's happening here. Sector 3, he is actually much quicker. RB Ferrero and Big Man Joe, he improved in Sector 1 by a lot. So we might just see things change quite a bit as RB Ferrero, he crosses the finish line, goes 6th fastest, better than his previous lap time. Let's stay on board Big Man Joe. He's coming across Sector 2. He is quicker, mind you. Oh, went over the curbs quite a bit. Didn't invalidate his lap time. He'll be glad about that.
true, but I have a feeling he's lost a lot of time there. But Sarthak, as it stands, I think Henry will be very relieved that Tanish wasn't able to get that pole.
Exactly, I'm pretty sure he will
Ooh,
be.
good final corner by Big Man Joe. That was nice.
Will he improve as he comes across the finish line? By how much? By nothing at
He
all. He will.
slows down, Sarthak. He slows down at the finish line. I think. Because I think Big Man Joe set his fast time on the mediums,
Oh,
and he did not want to finish this lap on the softs. So that makes sense. He slowed down completely at the finish line. So he abandoned his lap,
all right.
basically.
We will have a custom grid come the race itself. But as it stands, Andre seems to have picked off that front row start from Streeter.
Oh, what a stellar lap by Andre. I mean, he has impressed. The last race, he was fighting for the win against Streeter. And this race, starting P2, absolutely brilliant stuff from him.
Well, that is the end of shock qualifying. As the drivers will exit the lobby, we'll be creating a new custom grid lobby soon enough. It's Envy on pole position. Andre starting on the front row alongside him, Streeter and Dalvin on the second row. So I'm looking forward to lap number 1, honestly, Gouts.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the whole race, Arthik. It's gonna be a banger of a race.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. For those of you watching, make sure you stay with us as we return for the race itself.
No, wait, not yet.
Folks, we're back and we're all set to go for the race itself. Hope everyone can hear me loud and clear. I'm sorry if there was an interference in the audio. I believe there was. Everything just shot up to red. But yeah, we're good to go for the race itself. We got the custom grid. Sicknig is set to start in P5 and we'll have formation laps soon enough.
Absolutely, Sarthak. And I think Envy is still setting the grid.
Alright.
People seem to be readying up, which they shouldn't be doing until the word is out.
Meanwhile, folks watching, make sure you drop in the chat. Who do you think will come out in front at the end of turn 1? Turn 1. Turn 1s have always been a spectacle in the BRL. And the race to 0R for that matter. I'm just looking forward to see.
Sarthak. Turn 1 does start the drama for what is to come. So, best have an exciting turn 1 if you're to have an exciting race.
Yeah, precisely.
I just hope we don't see a safety car into turn 1 because that's going to be a little dull.
Yeah, it will be. No video, says Vasundhara. Well, the race is yet to begin. We're just sorting out some issues which we had earlier on, and the drivers are ready. So we're ready to race. 13 laps around Suzuka will soon begin.
Yes, boys. Let's ready up.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Tarish starts P18. Could you imagine that? P18.
Well, Sarthak, I'm a little surprised myself, but then we did see what happened. I mean, he was on the road to pole.
Yep.
But, well, it is what it is. This is motor racing, isn't it, Sarthak?
True and true. Sim racing is as close as it gets at our homes. Suzuka. I'm looking forward to this one. And, of course, the formation lap gets me all rallied up. Bit of goosebumps as well, especially considering some of these drivers I've never seen out on track, at least specifically Dalvin. I don't think we're going to stop talking about Dalvin much today, at least until race start. Maybe we will see a bit of left field results. I see the cars hopping on the right hand side of my screen, so it does seem a bit funny. But for those of you who don't know, the drivers are choosing their setups right now, and they've been strictly instructed to take their time in doing so, just to ensure everyone gets a fair opportunity to sort out their setups. Gouts, rundown on the tires.
Sarthak, I think all drivers on the grid except for Dalvin qualified and Big Man Joe qualified on the mediums. So Dalvin will be starting on the mediums as he was, I think, P3 or P4 on the grid.
All right.
And also, I think Big Man Joe, if I'm not wrong, qualified in the bottom 10, so he's got a free choice of tires. But knowing him, he'll probably start on the mediums as well. Only one way to find out, isn't there? Tires, and yes, we have Dalvin on the mediums. And Dalvin, the only driver, in fact, in the top 10 to start on the mediums. With Dinara one up, Big Man Joe, Duajin, Mr. Vex, Tarnish, and Derp. And Duajin and Fanatical have already had a bit of an incident in the formation lap.
Yeah, for those of you perplexed, well, it's not really a disqualification from the race, but just from the formation lap. One lap around the circuit right before the race begins. As you can see, a McLaren completely off track. That's Dalvin. You wouldn't want to go out on gravel during the formation lap, do you, Gouts?
Oh, absolutely not. That extra bit of tire wear is definitely not going to help. But, well, Dalvin is one of those experienced drivers who knows how to conserve his tires and still keep the pace. So, honestly, I'm just really excited to see him perform out there today.
We're in for a treat soon enough. Meanwhile, folks, 6 of y'all watching, make sure you drop in the chat any kind of predictions you have ahead of the race. 13 laps of racing, we're in for a treat. Big Man Joe starting P13. How ironic that is, as he ridiculed Rocketman for the longest time for starting P13.
The number 13.
Yeah.
It's going to be really funny if Big Man Joe finishes P13 today. I think Rocketman's going to have a few words with him after the race.
I'm pretty sure. But I highly doubt if Big Man Joe's going to finish P13. He'll be on a climb, different kind of climb. Sicknick starting P5. Abhi
Ooh.
seems to have returned back to the grid after that. Wonder what happened.
A lot of disqualifications in the formation lap so far. Assassin Next, Fanatical, Deathwish, Dwajin, and Abhi joining each other on the grid. So they'll be starting with relatively colder tires than the rest of the grid. So they may not have the best of starts. But then again, since they're starting at the back of the grid, it may not be. It may not affect the people in front too much, obviously. Mr. Vex, Tanish, and Derp. Three very quick drivers that we know. Starting at the bottom three on medium tires. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Let's not forget Envy. He's on pole position. Andre starting right alongside him. This is not the first time Andre is starting on the front row here at Race to Zero R. Streeter and Dalvin, two equally quick drivers on the second row. And Sicknick Hyrox 24. Mind you, Sicknick was the driver who finished P2 right behind KDB in the BRL Japanese GPO Season 4. You can expect great things going into this race. All the way from the front to the back.
Absolutely, Sarthak. Really looking forward to this race.
Yeah. Now, Firelight should be on soon enough, as long as the game doesn't play its usual tricks. And yes, it will not. Its Firelights are out. It's the Suzuka circuit, race number 4 of Race to Zero. And what a start he's had, Envy, but it's in the midfield that a start they've got that counts wheel to wheel. Sicknick and Dalvin, they go into sector 1, but it's Streeter still holding on to P3, and Hyrox 24 coming for that position too, Dalvin, and right behind follows Dark Legacy.
Absolutely, Sarthak, and I want to point out a lot of change in positions and a lot of incidents as well. Abhi and Baby Shumi seem to have lost their cars on track and have spun down all the way to the bottom, and so has an Alpha Tauri. I think that was Assassin Next who also spun out and as a result of a collision, and Tanish is off track as well. Everything happening here in Sector 1 itself, Sarthak.
Yeah, let's stay in the back of the pack. Assassin X going for that position to Abi. Up ahead, though, it's Abi Ferrello on the likes of Sicknick. Now, this part of the track, we might just see quite a bit of swap in positions. Sicknick's fallen down to P7, and he's gotten an equally nasty exit, just like Abi Ferrello did for that matter. As they go to Sector 3, you can expect some of these positions switching.
Definitely, Sarthak, and I think a lot of drivers here have also sustained a bit of wing damage on the main straight. Deathwish driving quite erratically there, swaying side by side as Abhi tries to find an opening to overtake him. And very close behind Big Man Joe, who seems to be going quite slow there. So I believe he may have wing damage as well. I can't really tell from this angle, but I mean, this is starting to get really interesting. A massive gap there between.
It's a spin. It's a spin and a retirement for the likes of Deathwish. That car is gone. Front right or front left, I believe. It's completely gone. Virtual safety car. A nasty incident between Abhi and Deathwish, and it's the end of the race for him. Abhi heads into the pits. Another 5-second penalty for the likes of Assassin Next.
This is everything just happening here, isn't it? And a lot of drivers heading into the pits, as I believe all of them have wing damage. And like I said, yes, Big Man Joe did actually sustain wing damage, which is why he's in the pits. And Tanish as well had an unfortunate start. Abhi and Dwajin also with wing damage. All of them have pitted. On the other hand, on the bright side, we see guys like Derp and Vex who have climbed up from the bottom and are now right behind KDB.
Yeah, precisely what I was going to point out. To think these two drivers, they started P19 and P20 respectively, and they find themselves ever so close into the top 10. Mind you, Dinara's kept it in the top 10, and he's going to have his hands full soon enough with the likes of KDB right behind him. Virtual safety car's done, so we're all ready for full racing now. Abi Ferrello still the driver out on track with the closest gap, but he's got Dark Legacy on his tail within half a second of him.
Absolutely, Sarthak. I mean, this... Oh, and Dinara 1-up spins out, and KDB takes advantage of that. It was lucky that Dinara 1-up ghosted. So KDB didn't ram right into him, but Derp and Mr. Vex taking good advantage of KDB slowing down and has now passed KDB as well.
No, he hasn't. He stays behind. He tucks back in fact. Or am I confused here? No, it is KDB in the Williams. My apologies, Gouts. But he is back up ahead.
Yeah, KDB now is back up ahead of Mr. Vex. He had a very good exit out of the final chicane. Not bad at all. And let's see how it goes. I mean, Vex seems to be gaining on KDB on the main straight, but yes, he requires the assistance of DRS to be able to make that move. KDB, on the other hand, will look to cruise away in this first sector. And yellow flags are a Mercedes.
And I believe that could be Dwajin himself. He's down in P16. And yes, it is. Yes, it is Dwajin. I think he had a spin. He's back on track though. We've had 2 retirements. Fanatical has retired as well. I wonder what went wrong there. Sector 1 and 2 light up yellow. That is Andre. He's spun out in Sector 2. And he's trying to rejoin the track. He's P7 now. And he will be passed by the likes of Mr. Wex as well as Derp.
Oh, very unfortunate for Andre. I mean, not really sure what happened there. And KDB seems to have dropped a lot of positions as well. So I have a feeling he was caught out in an incident as well. And
we're missing out on quite the battle up ahead though, Gouts. It's Signig and Dalvin. I believe they were wheel to wheel as they entered sector, as they exited sector 2, and they got company of RB Ferrello going into sector 3.
Oh my goodness, what a race this is turning out to be. And Signig gaining really a lot of... Oh, and a bold down dive down the inside. He cuts the corner by a lot, does Signig, and gets ahead of Dalvin. Now that's something we may have to look at after the race, Sarthak. But Dalvin gets the move done quite comfortably as he has a better exit, and not bad. He gets the position quite easily. Also had the assistance of DRS.
Yeah, but the battle's now over. Is it? Signig's lost 2 positions on the main straight already, and Dalvin's trying his best to pull away, but RB Ferrello, he stays right behind Davin on his gearbox, continues to, and I believe Dark Legacy has made that move stick on the likes of KDB. Let's switch there. KDB has gone into the pits. He had lost an end plate. He's having a new wing change.
Absolutely. I think KDB needed that. So did Andre. Andre is coming out of the pits now as well. I think he went in for a new front wing. Unfortunately, I think he picks up a 5-second penalty in the process for speeding in the pit lane.
Meanwhile, we see these gaps extend for beyond a second. You can see that gap almost over 4 seconds between Envy and Streeter up ahead. But we haven't gone anywhere with these less than 1 second gaps. With Dark Legacy keeping it behind Baby Shumi. And these 3 are on a train of their own. Dalvin, RB, Ferrello and Signic.
Oh, definitely. And there's Envy who's pulled out quite a gap to Streeter already, Sarthak. It's looking very comfortable given Envy is currently on the medium. No, wait, I'm sorry. That's Dalvin on the mediums, but Envy on the softs, yes. He has pulled quite a gap to Streeter at the moment. It's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out in the end. RB Ferrello, on the other hand, very close behind to Dalvin. He has the assistance of DRS at the moment. Gets close, but will he get close enough to make a move? No, he will not.
Say on board these drivers, Derp seems to have lost it somewhere because his gap just extended for over 3 seconds. That was less than a second. Mr. Wex falling down the order as he heads into the pits. Dark Legacy on Baby Shumi. There's been a retirement, Gouts. That's a double retirement in a span of a lap. I wonder what went wrong and in which part of the track, or have they voluntarily retired?
On the 130R, Dinara, 1UP and Andre have had a bit of an incident and both of them have been sent into the wall. I don't know what happened there, Sarthak, but I was able to see the wreckage through Dwajin's POV, and that has brought out a safety car, Sarthak.
And we've got Baby Shumi picking up the first of the lot in terms of penalties. He's got a drive-through for his name, and unfortunately, as we can see from the track map, the incident has been cleared, so we won't get a glimpse as we stay on board Envy. Opportunity for some?
Well, definitely opportunity for some. Seeing Andre and Dinara 1UP both were at the top, both were fighting for high positions. So, unfortunate for Andre. This is his second DNF, I think, so far in RTZH.
Yeah, and seems like the game has played its trick on me right now, God. So you'll have to keep it in the comms by the time I rejoin real quick.
Absolutely, Sarthak. I mean, safety cars, so not much drama on track for now. RB Ferrello heading into the pits. So is Dalvin. Actually, all the top drivers are heading into the pits right now. Envy, Streeter, Dalvin, RB, Signic. Everybody going in for a change of tires. Harry Rocks and Derp follow them. So a lot of positions going to be switched here. all exiting the pits, and there's Baby Shumi, Assassin next, Dark Legacy. Half the grid is in the pits, Sarthak. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Everybody in the pits at the same time, even during a safety car.
Meanwhile, a
Is
few guesses in the chat, Guts. Envy, Streeter, and Sicknig is the predicted podium. Meanwhile, UK says Envy, Tarnish, and Streeter.
Yeah, I mean, Tanish is quite far behind, but because of the safety car, he does have a great opportunity to catch up and capitalize on all the lost time, Sarthak. And as he approaches the pit lane, yep, Baby Shumi comes out just in front of him. Baby Shumi also, unfortunately, has picked up a drive-through penalty, so we won't be seeing him contending for any of the top positions today, Sarthak, because he has to serve his drive-through penalty after the safety car goes in. So that's going to be quite a bummer for him. And yeah, a lot of mixing positions. Like we can see, Derp and Mr. Wex have climbed up from the bottom of the table to P7 and P8 respectively. So they've made quite the stride there. One of them you can expect to be the driver of the day, assuming they hold their positions like this.
Yeah, and we return for the race. Apologies for that break, folks. But the game has its ways with us. Meanwhile, still safety car, so I'm glad there's not much change. We haven't missed too much, and we got 16 drivers out on track on lap number 6.
Absolutely, Sarthak. And something to look forward to when the safety car restarts is the battle at the back between KDB and Big Man Joe. BR is all over again. And of course, the battle in the front. Envy again will be looking to pull that gap to Streeter like he did on his first stint. Dalvin, on the other hand, has the tire advantage going into the safety car restart as he is now on the softs. So we might actually see Dalvin pull out some magic there in the last few laps of the race.
Just my halfway point of the race as well. Robbie Ferrello and Sicknig stays in the top 5. Derp up in a P7. And yeah, Dark Legacy and Assassin X find themselves in the mix of battles, perhaps. Astonish, Big Man Joe, and KDB will be trying their best to make their way up the pack, and including Abi and Duajin as well. But as it stands on lap number 7, the safety car will continue. I presume it will go in at the end of this lap.
Looks like it's Sarthak. Only one way to find out. I think when Envy approaches sector 3, we'll know for sure if the safety car is going in. But for now, things don't look very different from quali though, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't look much apart from the fact that we've lost 4 drivers. 4 drivers have retired from the session, from the likes of Dinara and Andre, who we were expecting great things from. And unfortunate, but it is racing after all. They do not receive points at the end of the race because they haven't reached the 90% completion mark. So yes, they will be going away from this race without points. I'm pretty sure they'll have their, words to say about the incidents as well. It'll be interesting to get a scoop on that post-race, and maybe we can talk about it next race. But right now, all eyes on the likes of Dalvin, who we, at least you and I, are seeing race out on track for the very first time on fresh set of softs behind 2 impeccable drivers.
Very true, Sarthak. And all the cars seem to have bunched up, which means at the end of this lap, we will actually have a safety car restart. We will have the restart, a race restart. What am I saying? We will resume the race. I'm sorry. I'm throwing around all sorts of words today.
I mean, with the amount of battles out on track, and unfortunate that we ended up missing a few, considering they were happening in the front, in the midfield, and the back. Who wouldn't, lose a word or two in the mix? Safety car in this lap, after all, Gouts.
Definitely. So that's safety car coming in. Let's brace ourselves for a mega start. Dalvin there approaching.
How much is Envy going to back the field up? Because he's already begun.
Oh, this is... as long as he doesn't do anything reckless, speed up and then slow down and then speed up, I think he'll be fine. And Envy has let go of the... Let's go. race has begun.
Yeah, it has, and Davin seems to have closed that gap ever so much. And in the midfield, there is changes. It's Tanish and Baby Shumi, but it's Baby Shumi heading into the pits at the safety car restart, and it's Dalvin within 3/10 of the likes of Streeter. Nothing's changed just yet. Dubs closing in on the likes of Irox24 as well, and it's KDB on Big Man Joe after all. Gouts, let's stay on board this battle.
Absolutely.
He's
and
fun.
KDB spins out. So unfortunate, Sarthak.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, back to the battle in front then. Yeah, back to the battle in front as Dalvin's on the gearbox of Streeter as they go through at the exit of Sector 1. They're going to stay that way. Come Sector 3 is where you can expect a battle of sorts. Dwajan closes in on the likes of Abi at the back of the pack.
Absolutely, Sarthak. And looking at the tire situation here, I think it's advantage Dalvin, advantage Derp, and advantage Mr. Vex here. So they need to capitalize as much as they can and climb as many positions as they can in order to finish high, because they have the tire advantage here. Seeing that there's only 5 laps of racing left, the softs are definitely going to last a long time. And Envy, on the other hand, has pulled up a massive lead already on Streeter.
Yeah, but it's Tanish on the likes of Assassin X, the wheel-to-wheel, bumping wheels as well. And come with the 180R, how much of a difference is it going to make? Will they stay wheel-to-wheel? They try, but they cannot. Assassin X fends off Tanish, a race winner here in race to 0R, and somehow holds on to P10.
Definitely, but Tanish seems to have had the better exits here, so he might not need DRS to overtake Assassin next. He also has the tire advantage. He's got the faster tires, the softs, although quite old. But and Assassin X making a move, dives down the inside of Tanish and stays behind. That was a good battle to watch. Good comeback by Assassin X as well.
Oh, he's gone off track, Tanish.
Tanish goes off track.
Almost contact between the two. We've had a retirement here. It's Dub. Yeah, it's done, and Assassin X loses his rear. Somehow he keeps it on track. Safety car as well. And Gouts, we've missed it. I caught it on screen, but we've missed a battle in the front. It's Dalvin with the race lead.
Oh my goodness, so much going on. I didn't even notice Dalvin was in P1. That's because Envy has had a bit of an incident and he stumbled all the way down to P8, Sarthak.
Yeah, I wonder what went wrong there. I did see Dalvin make the pass stick on the main straight to Streeter, and after that we went back to the likes of Tanish and Assassin X, which was chaos in its own way. And right now Dalvin leads this race ahead of the likes of Streeter, Abu Ferrero, Sicknig, and Anox24. Mr. Wex finds himself in P6. Dope. How he ended up retiring is still unknown. Hopefully we can find out soon enough. But right now it looks good for the likes of Dalvin and Mr. Wex.
True. I think Derp touched one of the curbs on the S's and was sent flying into the wall. I think that's what happened to him, because that's how his car seemed to have been positioned after the wreckage anyway. And it's I'm curious to see if anyone's going to pit for a fresh set of softs or anything. Again, disadvantage Baby Shumi here because he has picked up another. Oh, never mind. He's DNF.
Yeah,
I think he has voluntarily retired.
Yeah, he has voluntarily retired. On lap number 10, we have yet another safety car, folks. And Dalvin leads this race this time around for the very first time in race to 0R. He leads a race right behind safety car, and he's got quite the drivers behind him, as you'd expect always. It's KDB playing catch up at the very back of the pack to the likes of the rest of the boys.
That's something we don't see very often, do we? I mean, KDB is one of those drivers you expect to be in the top 3 all the time, but today it just hasn't been his day. Again, considering he hasn't really played the game in a very long time, I think it's somewhat understandable.
Considering I'm a commentator and I'm the reason he is in the position that he's in, and when I say that, I mean the car he's in, I've been very ignorant, haven't I? He's in a Williams, Gouts. He's never been in a Williams since BRL Season 3, and I don't think he's going to have nice things to say to me after this race either.
Absolutely not, but at the same time, let's look at the bright side. These are equal performance cars after all. So, about the car, I don't think there's anything anyone can complain about.
Yep, fair enough. Spun on curb, says Derp. So yeah, zero practice, so it was hard. No problem, Dub. Hopefully next race, around race number 5, he'll come much more prepared, and we'll see an even better race pan out in his favor, perhaps. But as it stands, it's Dalvin leading this race under safety car, and I think KDB's caught up enough, so I won't be surprised if the safety car heads in this lap. Should have popped up by now.
Yeah, no, it will pop up very soon. Nope, it's going to be another lap of safety car, Sarthak.
Sometimes I don't
It's
get
going
it.
to be another lap of safety car. Yeah, so I think so. What we're going to see is no DRS. There is not going to be DRS, and so the number of overtakes on the straights might be very less. But what we will be able to see is a lot of position switches during the safety car, assuming some people have good starts and the others have bad starts. So that is something I'm looking forward to. Dalvin, on the other hand, has already made a huge impact coming into this race. His first ever race in RTZH. He's made a massive impact. He qualified in P2 on the mediums, or P4 on the mediums, if I'm not wrong. And now leads this race, Sarthak.
Yeah, and we got 2 drivers in the pits having a change of tires as well as a change of wing for Dwajin. KDB hops 1 position, of course, considering Dwajin took a bit more time with the wing. And yeah, that's a fresh set of softs, and KDB in P13 on lap number 11.
Absolutely, and I think safety car will be coming in this lap, so KDB has a lot of ground to catch, to cover. KDB and Dwajin as well, they need to catch up to the pack if they need to actually look to make moves at the safety car restart.
Yeah, and the way it is, we just might see one hell of a restart with the likes of Streeter and RB Ferrello. We've seen RB Ferrello capitalize as much as possible at safety car restarts, and he's got Sicknig on his tail, and as much as their teammates for the day, it's all to play for by themselves out on track.
Absolutely, Sarthak. It's gonna be a race to the finish. 2 laps of racing, intense racing, might I add, given the circumstances. All positions up for grabs, obviously. P1, that coveted winning position, up for grabs at the moment. Very unpredictable, anything can happen. I mean, we did not expect Envy to spin out at the very last moment, did we, Sarthak?
Precisely. Envy,
that's a Ferrari off track, a bit of drama in the midfield between Envy and Dark Legacy. I think Envy was off track, Dark Legacy was off track. And, well, yeah, safety car coming in this lap.
How early is he going to start bunching up the track? The pack, in fact, Dalvin. Precisely in the same part of the track Envy did for just that much. But yeah, as they come out sector 3, this is going to be interesting. It's the final corner. Dalvin exits it. It's 2 laps of racing, a race to 0R. Dalvin leads this race, and he's pulled away quite a bit. Streeter left behind. The gap is still within half a second. Streeter's threatened for position from the likes of RB Ferrello, who's got nothing to worry about close behind, and the positions haven't changed much, have they, Gods?
Oh, but Dalvin and Streeter go almost wheel to wheel. Oh my goodness, I think Dalvin made a bit of a mistake, and now RB Ferrello trying to take advantage of Streeter's lines. Oh, that was exciting, Sarthak. It almost looked... Oh, and RB... Wait, I think the game is glitching. Something is wrong.
Oh yeah, and Dark Legacy falls down the order as well. He's lost multiple positions. Tarnish spins off track, and Dark Legacy almost went out with him. But up ahead, Sicknig tries his best.
Dark Legacy has been hitting the walls as well. Oh, a bit unfortunate there. I'm not sure what happened there, Sarthak. Do you think, was there a glitch on your screen? Oh, and KDB has been hit and he's off track as well. What a disastrous race he's having.
Yeah, he's lost position to the likes of Dark Legacy. Up ahead, nothing much has changed, however, in terms of Dalvin and Streeter. Still holding on to B1 and P2. RB Ferrello lost out on track position. Unfortunately, it might have been the game itself. But let's stay on this battle. RB Ferrello, he's not giving up. He's taking it to Mr. Vex.
Absolutely, and knowing RB Ferrello's pace and how much he wants that position, I have a feeling he's going to get the move done. And he lines himself on the outside. And does he get the move done? Yes, he does. What an amazing move by RB Ferrello. Driving an Alpine, a very similar move, pulled off by one of his heroes, Fernando Alonso himself, at the same corner. Brilliant stuff there by RB Ferrello.
That's going straight onto YouTube, but the action hasn't ended. Streeter's taking it to Dalvin at lap number 13. It's the final lap, folks, and we've got the two front runners within a tenth of each other.
Absolutely, Sarthak. And as you can see, Dalvin is taking those corners very, very conservatively. He is avoiding the curb at all costs. So I think his plan for the final lap, as there aren't many overtaking opportunities in Japan, his plan is probably just to, stay ahead and keep it safe and finish the race in P1.
Yeah, meanwhile, Envy's plan is to make a jump in position more than just one. Come Sector 3, I'm sure he's got 3 cars. He could possibly pick off one by one come Sector 3, but right now he'll have to stay P7 as it stands. And out of that corner...
Oh, and the spinner as Siknig has hit the water. Oh my goodness, he has DNF, Sarthak.
Yeah, front right. Yeah, front right's gone.
Absolutely. I think Siknig and Streeter had a bit of an incident there, Sarthak, and Siknig was sent flying. I'm not really sure whose fault that was. I think that's something for the stewards to decide.
Meanwhile, RB Ferrello now on Hyrox 24 around the outside. Last time around, it was Siknig. This time around, possibly Hyrox 24. No, he's gone completely wide. Makes the move stick around the outside. But up ahead, it's Dalvin. He comes across the final corner. What a race he's driven all the way from P4. He wins race number 4 at Suzuka, and right behind is Streeter and RB Ferrello picking off that podium position. And what a way to pick it off, around 180R.
Let me point out something, Sarthak. RB Ferrello, same place, 2 moves. I mean, absolutely incredible. That is a sight for sore eyes. Let me tell you that right now.
Yeah, precisely. And Envy managed to make a jump, quite a bit of jumps in position. And so did Dwaj, and he finds himself finishing P6 at the end of this race. Mind you, at safety car restart, he was way down in P13.
Oh my goodness, what a race this has been, Sarthak. Dalvin making a massive impact on his very first race in the RTZH. Not just finishing on the podium, but winning the race. Incredible stuff by Dalvin, and RB Ferrello has just taken my breath away. Those last 2 laps were magic by RB Ferrello, let me tell you that.
Of course, UK pointing it out. That's 130R. My apologies for incorrectly mentioning that. That's on me. But yeah, oh my. To my defense, a lot of cars went 180 there.
Well, when you put it that way, Sarthak.
Yeah. What a race. What a race. We expected just this from Suzuka, and we got the treat we wanted. 1 minute 30.667 from Envy, the fastest lap time on the board.
Definitely, Sarthak. And congratulations to the race winner and the podium sitters. And of course, to everyone else who finished the race as well. And Sarthak, like you predicted before the race started, we do have a new race winner in the RTZH.
Yeah, new race winner. And Streeter returns to the podium. So nothing's changed there. But RB Ferrello on the podium for the first time in race to 0R. And I'm pretty sure it won't be the last. Folks, we'll leave it there. Gouts, it's been a pleasure. Especially this one, the Suzuka Circuit race. See you again. Race number 5 on Tuesday.